Welcome to My Orgasmic Life podcast, a show where we talk about sex, love, relationships, and kink. And of course, my favorite part, I share with you my very graphic, very juicy, and always entertaining orgasmic life. I'm Gaia Morissette, your hostess, and your holistic sexual wellness specialist, your trauma healer, your BDSM expert, and of course, your pro dominatrix. The show is inspired to inspire you to support your orgasmic living. Remember, always check the content warning before you listen, and make sure you're listening where no one else can hear it, because you never, ever know what I'm going to say, because I always come with an explicit graphic content warning. Now, strap in and enjoy the show. Welcome back to another fantastic episode of My Orgasmic Life, and of course, our series, Confessions of a Pro Dominatrix. And I have one of my very favorite pro dominatrix, Mistress Terry, with me today.
Hello, and let me remove my cat as usual. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me back, Empress. I've been loving watching your episodes and rewatching them. They're freaking hot and informative.
Right. Mm. So, if you haven't watched some of our episodes, I highly recommend doing it. We've been told over and over and over again about the intense chemistry that the two of us share.
You say it isn't so. No, it's true. We have intense chemistry since day one.
So today's episode, we're going to talk about what age is it safe to start exploring kink and BDSM. And the reason that this conversation we're going to have today for our listeners, and how did this happen, is that we were sitting around. Can I out you in your new lifestyle?
Oh, yes, I think that's when we were talking about it. Who knows?
It was. That's exactly when and where we were talking about it.
Was it? Yeah, I have a new lifestyle. I do have a new lifestyle. You can share with I've been waiting years for my new lifestyle. You can share with our listeners.
Okay, so we're hanging out at the nudist resort, which, by the way, Mistress Cherry is now a member.
No wristband. Inside joke. No.
And so we're sitting around the nudist resort. We're having conversations, as we always do. And what came up was how we've had some incidents with past clients wanting to come see us who are really, really young, and we were talking about how do we navigate that and what do we do around that. And so I was like, and that comes up often, where I'm noticing it more now than ever before, that people who are very, very young reaching out and wanting to explore BDSM and kink. And I'm be excited to hear and see studies. Like, I don't know the studies. These are just what my observation has been, but I would love to see the studies of how the internet and technology has affected the healthy evolution around human sexual development. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm finding is that there's a lot of really young people who've had zero sexual experience, and yet they want to explore kink. So before we get into all the logistical stuff of that, what's your thoughts on that?
And you said you're healthy, and also sometimes in my chats with them is unhealthy, right? Is sometimes it can be healthy, sometimes it can be unhealthy. So my thought with that, I've, in my 10 to 12 years of being a pro dom, is really evolved for me. And I'll kind of tell you stories. Like, I'll see in my mind, a couple clients, and they're, say, 28 or 31, and they're like, I've been seeing you for 10 years. Like, ooh, how did that happen? Because right now, for safety and everything you said, them self-educating on the internet and so on, my guideline now is 25 plus. If someone reaches out to me and they're 23 or 24, I definitely will have my intake phone conversation that we've talked about on other episodes. Is I will talk to them about that if they have the maturity, right, as well. So I find, and some clients, you know, don't really understand. I just find the 25 plus, and you can talk more to it as well with your educational background with that. But I just find the maturity they have usually at 25. I'm not stereotyping. Have come with some sexual experience. They've done some sexual experience or kink experience, so they've kind of have that, right? They might have seen other pro doms that they've had that, and they want to come to me for a different experience, or that, or that subspace I take them to, or whatever that's in my podcast. So I am really careful with that age now, really being particular with the 25, because I have had some people in here that were younger, and I don't want to say regret, but regretted they just weren't ready, right? And if people read on my website, I'm really about that journey and not the destination, not about chasing that orgasm. And a lot of younger people, because they're watching it on the internet, the femdom is all usually naked, not usually, sometimes naked, or it's that sexual release or that sexual interaction, right? And I just find that, and if they are 23 to 25, I still give them some homework to go through my website, look at other pro doms, you know, do some education of what they like. They just seem to just be kind of aiming for that orgasm and missing all the beautiful BDSM things in between, right? Yes, spanking and all that is beautiful. All of that is. So that's my experience. So I am really become strict on that. And I have said that I have had a few people this year say, "Hi, I'm now 25, mistress, I'm ready." So, and I do say, they call me back. I'm like, wow. And I do remember, right? I keep notes. I do like, yeah, like, oh, there's, right? It's like, see, I waited. So I do tell them, you know, to call me. And if they just want a phone conversation, or if they just want a non-BDSM session and just come for counseling or some energy healing, I do that as well. I just don't get into the BDSM.
You know, talking about education, we have a fantastic opportunity for you to learn more, talking about, especially if you're a newbie, you have no experience. There's two venues. One is our BDSM membership program, which goes into very comprehensive, different kinks, different things, both from an educational perspective as well from a play perspective and safety perspective, so that you get a really good taste of that. And then there's also an online course for BDSM 101, so that you can really have like learn the nitty gritty of what it is, both emotionally, psychologically, physiological, safety, all the things that you need to know before you jump into this world. I just want to take a moment for that's awesome, and thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
That I just want to take a moment to talk about. So for me, when we don't have, it's not necessarily an age as it is about how much sexual experience do you have. Because for me, what I've found is that clients that have zero vanilla sexual experiences, and then their first sexual experiences are kink, and especially a pro dom extreme kink experience, then what that does is it kind of starts to fuck up the orgasmic patterning, the love patterning, the relationship, the bonding patterning, the attachment patterning, all of the things that needs to happen in the beginning stages of somebody's healthy relationship, love, and sexuality evolution. And so those moments of those sweet moments of holding someone's hand, or, you know, going to first base and groping and kissing and, you know, communicating kind of what you like, and, you know, having like oral sex for the first time without power exchange involved, or, you know, even having penetrative sex without, you know, without outfits and power exchange and blindfolds and rope and all the other things that are fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Everything that in the realm of BDSM and kink are spectacular, but I feel like if we jump ahead, and this is what I've seen problematic with clients, you jump ahead from that vanilla world right into the kink world, it anchors in some things that prevent you from having a full, healthy sexual expression. And as a holistic sexual wellness specialist, on top of being a pro dom, my world is all about the holistic approach to sexuality. And what I've found is that you need there's 5 aspects of sexual wellness. There's play, sensuality, sexuality, exploration, and the sacred. And if you're out of whack, if you don't have all of them, you become unbalanced, untethered, and unhealthy in your sexuality as a whole being. And that sexuality affects who you are, mind, body, and spirit. And so what I found is the play, so the world of vanilla, this is like the first 3 phases of that aspects, the play, the sensuality, and the sexuality of learning the journey of pleasure and sensations and communication happen in those vanilla worlds. So if you don't have those experiences, and then your very first sexual experience is coming to one of us who is now like had you take off your clothes, put your head to the floor, ass up in the air, shoving a dildo up your ass,
or whatever the request is, right?
Whatever,
you're still naked for the like you're missing I love what you said, Empress. You're naked in front of someone, you know, for the first time. It doesn't matter that they're younger and I'm older than them. It doesn't matter, but you're right. Your first time you're naked in front of a woman should not be head down, ass up, or over the bench, or tied to the cross. You're right. Well said. Well said.
Yeah, like if that's what happens, what that does is that imprints that's the only way that you can be you can express your sexuality. And so then what I've seen with clients where that's been the experience that they've had, they can't have lifestyle out in the world relationship. They can't have and I don't want to use the word normal because I don't like the word normal, but a healthy relationship connections, healthy relationships and bonding connections with, you know, doing all of the things that happen in relationship negotiation, right? Of, you know, unless you're going to be in a 24/7 own situation, which even then I would suggest that isn't an ideal to jump into unless you've had that you know what all the other possibilities are first, so that you can make that choice. Because don't get me wrong, I'm kinky as fuck, and pretty much all of the sex that I have is freaky, is completely freaky. But I don't have to, I can have, and I've had beautiful sexual experiences that are not kink related. I've been able to have sacred sexual experiences, which are tantric, which are not kink related. I've been able to have cuddling with just cuddling and having this beautiful sensual exploration with a lover that has nothing to do with kink and power exchange. And the whole gamut is open for possibilities. And if we don't allow ourselves to develop in that way, then we stunt our possibilities. Because the first, and this is really important, your first sexual experiences, whatever they are, whether they're when you're 5 and you're whacking off and, you know, somebody's shoes walked past you and it got you aroused, or, you know, the first time you see boobs, or whatever it is, your first sexual experiences and the first time you orgasm you create an orgasmic pattern. And in that pattern of sexual arousal, relationship connections, and sexual release is imprinted. And so we need to have lots of different experiences so that we have lots of different imprinting so that we can have the best relationships that serve us.
Absolutely. You made many good points, as per usual. No, you made a good point about imprinting, right? I'm doing, I have a YouTube channel, an episode on imprinting. And that first experience, right? When you say like the first time I orgasmed was receiving oral sex. The first time I really orgasmed. And I love, with my service subby being served. Like that's my thing. But you're right, that sticks with you. And we also know, right, from being pro doms, that first, if we're the first kink experience, people, let's be honest, people fall in love with us, want to talk to us all the time. It's that imprinting, and not fall in love. Yes, we're wonderful, but is that imprinting? That has been thinking about imprinting a lot lately. And you want people that just imprint on a pro dom for the first time. They need to realize that there is so much more to it. Is that balance, right? Is that balance that you talked about, right?
Yeah,
really
you need the balance completely.
Yeah.
And you need to come in with other possible imprinting already. Like you've already been imprinted around sex. Like you can have an orgasm over this way, and you can have sexual interactions this way, and you've had some actual, like you've maybe gone on a date with somebody. You've like these are important things of like not only just on a sexual evolution, but on relationship evolution. Because I know both of us, our goal when we're seeing clients is to get them ready to be able to embrace fully who they are so that they can build a lifestyle relationship.
Very much.
That's like, I know that's both very, very important to us. So in order to have find a healthy, not toxic, not abusive relationship, then you need to be able to have all the things that helps you navigate a relationship. Right. And if you're like, again, your first experience is basically first time you're ever in front of a woman who is going to be your first sexual experience, and she's bossing you around and she's like whipping you and doing whatever the things are.
She comes out with a flogger,
right? Which is super hot. Don't get me wrong, super hot. But then how are you supposed to go on a date with Sally, the accountant?
Because she doesn't have a flogger in her purse.
She doesn't have a flogger in her purse. And she may not even be, she might, but she may not have a flogger in her purse. And she may not want to order you around. She may want you to order your own dinner. And she may want you to have conversation and tell her your thoughts on things like connection and bonding. Yeah. So you don't know how to do that if your first experience is with one of us as a pro dominatrix.
Right. But connecting and bonding is different. It is important to us. I like to connect and bond, but you're right. They're on well, for me, the platform in front of me, talking to me, or they're naked. So it's completely different. So it's interesting. So what we're really talking about is yes, the first sexual experience, but it's really the first connection with a grown, mature woman or man. Like we're being non-gender binary. This doesn't matter, so it's that connection, being able to, and I'm using your words here, move in the world. Right? Figure out how you move in the world. And you're right, the first experience should not be with a pro dom. So that's why there's age restrictions. And that's why I say, hey, the submissives clients I told a few minutes ago, oh, I'm ready. Have they had other kink experiences with either people their age or older, or saw that's great. But to come and have that true domination, safe experience, they've done some more self-exploration. And you touched a bit on it too. I talked about my first orgasm with with someone, but your first orgasm is really with yourself. It's really with self-play and self-exploration. And some people have reached out, haven't done enough, even if it's self-kink play, right? Safely. But that's really important to self-explore yourself. But I've had people reach out and have nothing, right?
Mhm.
And they need to do that. So that's super important too, is that getting to know yourself, right? Sexually and otherwise. That's the most important thing. And I know that was important for me as well. Still is.
Yeah, constantly. And for our extended version today's episode, we're going to talk about our first kink experiences, and how that actually framed who we are sexually. And how important those, like I said, that's why it's so important that we have many experiences and many possibilities so that you have variety of possibilities of, then you can consciously make choices in your life.
That's right. The reason we're laughing a bit, and because I really want everyone to go on to the extended version, is we're laughing what we realized in sitting around at the nudist resort. I'm a nudist, I tell you. Anyways, yeah, is we have similar, we didn't know each other then, we just met this year, but is we have parallel experiences, which I found very fascinating. So you will want to tune into that, viewers.
Yes,
You
definitely
really
want
will.
to tune into that. So let's talk about if you have no experience, like you're like, you have no sexual experience, because they're listening and they're like, oh man, but I really want to go see them.
Or someone's like, I saw a pro dom for the first time with my sexual experience. I'm fine. Great. Love to hear from you. Love to hear from you with that, right?
Yeah. So so here's the thing. Often when a client comes to me and says they have no sexual experience, we talk about how do we get them sexual experience. That's we move you out of the dungeon, cross the hall into my treatment room, and we sit down and we start talking about what kind of relationship, what kind of sexuality, what kind of experience can we give you in the realm of exploration and vanilla exploration before we go into the hard, before you then can migrate back over to the dungeon.
Graduate.
We graduate, crossing the hallway into the dungeon, right? And so one of the things is sexual confidence and understanding about yourself, is bringing you right back to this whole idea of knowing who you are as a sexual being outside of porn, outside of external influences in our sexual arousal response. Dropping back in, and with all your tantric background stuff as well, right? It's like
Right.
that whole dropping back into the senses, dropping back into the body, being present in your body, exploring who you are. So when we talk about that exploration from a self-pleasuring standpoint, we're not just talking about jerking off watching porn. Jerking off watching porn isn't exploring who you are in the greater cosmos of your sexual evolution on any level. What it's doing, if anything, is actually influencing who you are as a sexual being, instead of you discovering who you truly are as a sexual being, which is coming into the body, being aware of your body, being aware of what turns you on, what turns you off, how to bring yourself to orgasm, point of no return if you're a penis owner, all of those things. And it's that really important piece of sexual development within yourself. And if you haven't had the opportunity to date, well, that's important. Like, that's an important part of evolution of human interaction. So why? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. Why haven't you gone and dated? What's going on? What's the things that are interfering in you being able to have connection, have intimacy, confidence? There's stuff going on that's preventing you from being able to go out on dates or dating people or connecting and starting that that sweet, innocent evolution around your sexuality. So that, I think, is a really important piece that I want our young audience to like
Mhm.
sit with and being like, oh, why haven't I? Is it because I haven't had the opportunity? Is it because I'm afraid? Is it because I need some support in knowing how to? You know, which both of us could help and support you in that. But it really is an important piece of like, well, why haven't you had those experiences yet?
I had someone reach out to me and talk about how it was because, and I don't bring up the pandemic very much because that's over there. We talk about what we talk about, but reached out to me and said they didn't even know how to go to, they became of age, so of 19, okay,
Yeah.
to go to a bar
Yeah.
because they came of age during the pandemic, or they didn't know how to go on a date or see anyone during that. So if the viewers are listening, yeah, we can help with that. I don't just, like, you made a really good point. You know, Empress has a treatment room. I have a room where I put the massage table, Tantra, Reiki, that we can help work through that, because sometimes it is just the physical and emotional cues, because you made a good point why some people couldn't, right? Some people are home with their families and we were in that bubble there, right? So they couldn't
Yeah.
go out. So when you're saying that, I was like, oh yeah, I've had those conversations with people, or so they're feeling, lack of other word, delayed in getting out there, right? But it's true. It has to be a stepping stone. And everything you said a few minutes ago, it's that big picture. Right. And don't be in a rush. I guess that's always my big thing with everyone, no matter what age you are. No rush to get from A to B. No rush to, you want to desire to be a masochist and be flogged or spanked or pegged. There is no rush, because we're on this journey together. Because similar to you, if you want to come see me for a bucket list, great. But my real goal is to grow with you, to grow with you, to see other pro doms like yourself, or to grow and have a lifestyle. And we say lifestyle, we need a partner that can share those beautiful kink BDSM experiences with you, right? In or out of the bedroom events, however you choose, right? And also, I find when we embrace our kink side, we also, like you, yes, I have very kinky sex and I'm, kinky thing, but yeah, sometimes it's beautiful, the cuddling, it enhances everything when you're true to everything, right? So, and that's kind of my tagline, keep it kinky, but be true to you. Like that is really, really what is important to me. So that's really what we're trying to say, is be true to you. You don't get lost on the internet and what you're seeing, right? Some things on the internet, right, online are great, like us, but
yeah, because you're probably listening to us right now or watching us on the internet, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, we've all watched, I've done my homework with some the femdom things. Yes, and I tell people, younger people, the 25 plus, to come see me and have just seen it online. It's not going to be what you see online. It's going to be better. It's not just looping. It's a true life experience, because I care about that person genuinely, right? I always tell people anything I do comes from a place of love, even though you're asked for extreme spanking or over the knees, I mean, wow, I have a spanking thing this morning.
Seriously, somebody's itching to be doing some spanking. How many times, we should make one of our subs listen to this episode. How many times does Mistress Cherry use the word spanking in this episode?
Spanking. I know. Whoa.
So apparently we're going to do an episode soon about spanking.
Yes, with you, with on Cherry's chambers. Apparently. Wow.
So
anyways,
back to our topic, not spanking. Talking about making those life choices that are based on including all of your sexual experiences. And again, I don't have an age limit. I have a sexual experience limit for me, right? So you could be 19 and had all these, you've been having intercourse and frolicking and fucking since you were 14 years old. And so you have all this experience, and I'll be like, great. And now you're ready to, you know, you've had some kinky experience, but now you're like, okay, I really want to explore my kinks in a safe environment with somebody who knows what they're doing. And, you know, the stepping stone of leaning into this world that can be incredibly dangerous. It's a really important other piece of this, is that this is why you want to come see a professional. Or if you're doing this with a partner, it's great to go have a session with a professional so they can teach you how to do things safely. You know, that you're not getting your freak on and then ending up in a merch, because that's not sexy. And there's a lot of paper.
And a lot of waiting.
And a lot of waiting, a lot of paperwork, and a lot of really uncomfortable, shaming conversations.
Yes.
But it's that piece around how much experience, for me, that's what it is. How much experience do you have? Because even if a client came to see me who had no sexual experience and they were like 35, or, you know, there's plenty of clients that come see me from a sexual wellness standpoint who are still virgins, you know, into their 40s. So like, for me, it's about how much sexual exploration have you done before you're going to go into the hardcore extreme kink, is whether or not we're a good fit, and whether or not I will see that client and best support them, right? And again, I don't turn clients away if they have no experience. If anything, we just start working on, let's get you those experience in the world. Let's heal those things that are interfering, so that you then eventually can graduate and go over across the hall to the dungeon. Because trust me, I much prefer my clients in the dungeon.
Because you're kinky.
I'm kinky as fuck.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, and we've talked about this. We learn from each other.
We totally learn a lot from one another. Yeah,
we really do, right? We've become better in this world since we've met each other. We're great, and now we're just better. But I should say that, yes, have I made exceptions to the rules, right? I like guidelines. That's just how I operate. But Empress brings up a good point. Yes, if someone comes to me that's 30 and no sexual experience, yes, we will talk and work through it. If someone comes to me 19 and 2021, yes, and had tons of kink experience, right? Then yes, I probably would sit and have that conversation, and they graduate, maybe not across the hall, but kind of down the hall.
Down the hall.
So if viewers are listening, like, oh, I want to see both of them, or I want to see Empress and then I want to see Mistress Cherry as well, then yes, there is exceptions to that rule. And when people have said, oh, I'm just 23, because I've talked about this in other episodes, it's that phone call with me. I can get the maturity, because if someone is able to carry on a mature conversation and is together and knows what they want, then they will be confident in, I like an interactive subby, using their safe word and so on, right? Using their safe word. If I'm spanking them, say.
Of course, just saying, if you were spanking them.
I know, I might have had a kinky dream about spanking.
That's beautiful. So, talking about spanking and kink. So we have teamed up to create this beautiful events called Kinky Clinics. So there'll be all sorts of, the idea of the Kinky Clinic is that it's like a full day experience where we teach a particular thing, a particular kink, particular fetish, whatever it is that we're doing. And then you get to practice. It's a practice clinic afterwards, guided practice clinic in the space with a bunch of other kinksters. So that's also will be a really beautiful place to have new experiences under a controlled and a safe environment. So make sure you check out our Kinky Clinics. They'll both you'll be able to register for Kinky Clinics both on Mistress Cherry's site as well as on Empress Gaia's site. And the link will be in the show notes. Both of our websites will be the links in the show notes. So how can people spend more time? say they want to be spanked.
I was gonna say, in our Kinky Clinics with 2 Ks, you might be able to spank. I want to say something else about Kinky Clinic. I'm super excited about it, right? I've been doing Empress Gaia over the years, so lots of things. I have been doing lots of workshops for the last 12 months, and I'm really excited to partner with Empress Gaia. And if you're on this and you're also familiar with kink, yes, we'll post it on my Facebook groups and Cherry Leather Chaps and on Mr. Cherry Leather Chaps on FetLife as well. If you're a kinkster on this site, it'll be everywhere. You'll be able to find it.
Yes,
But
everywhere.
Kinky Clinic, I just want to drop a bit more with that. Empress is great. We found a beautiful space, safe space. And one more thing, someone asked me this about Kinky Clinics. Can they just be a voyeur? Do they have to be part of the participation? Yes. You can, it's all the same, right? But yes, you can, someone say, can I just watch? Yes, you can just watch. You'll want to participate when you get there, but you can watch. And you get to meet us live.
Right? You get to spend time with us in person.
Right, live. So
wherever you're listening to, totally worth the trip.
It is. And you want to make a weekend of it, you can reach out to me, spend more time with me, or spend more time with Empress. So more time with me. My best method of communication is sending me an email at cherry@mistrescherry.net. Right? I'll be in the show notes as well. You can check out my website, which has everything updated and what I offer in this wonderful world of BDSM, and that's www.mistrescherry.net. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Cherry Leather Chaps, and also find me on FetLife, like I said. So, and on my website, for discretion, yes, you can send me a contact form right from there, from my website at mrcherry.net. There you go. And you? And how?
And me. Oh, so you want to spend more time with me? It's best always to enter the empire. If you want to enter the empire of all things Gaia at GaiaMorissette.com. And at the end of today's episode, the outro will have all of where all my things, all things, where to find me, do all things, follow me, all the wonderful ways in which you can spend professional time with me. And you'll get a lovely reminder that I am not available for marriage, sex, having anybody's babies. Okay?
What? No,
I even did a podcast
on right.
Why Gaia will not have your babies, because that's how many baby mama requests I get on a regular basis. I know. So we are going to do an extended version of this episode. And in our extended version, which is for all of my Patreon members, which you can find in the show notes, how to join become a Patreon member, is we are going to talk about in graphic details, because we only ever do anything graphically, graphic details about our first kink experience.
Yes, and or sex boyfriend experience or girlfriend, whatever, yes.
Yeah, our first kinky relationship, kinky.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. Yeah, you need to watch, everyone. It was really interesting when we shared each other's stories at the nudist resort.
At the nudist resort, because now Mistress Cherry is now a member at the nudist colony.
Did you hear? And it's something I always wanted to do. She honestly did not have to twist my arm and wanted to do it for decades. So it's a other story.
It's another story. I will do another episode on how Mistress Cherry became a nudist.
as she always was. Apparently.
As she always was. Okay, so thank you, audience. I appreciate you. We both appreciate you. I hope you found this in both entertaining and educational, and please reach out to us if you have any questions, and join the Patreon so that you can hear the juicy conversation we're about to have.
Might have spanking in it.
It probably will have spanking in it, as Mistress Cherry's all about the spanking today. So
if anyone in this episode can count how many times I said spanking, reach out to me and I'll give you a free conversation, okay?
I love it.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Well, I hope today's episode inspired you, encouraged you, and of course, made you feel tingly inside. I just want to take a moment to tell you how much I appreciate the time that you spend and how I really deeply appreciate you listening. I do it for you guys, the audience, and I love and adore you guys. So, quick loving reminder, I am not available for naked pictures, getting married, having sex, or having anybody's babies. And when you want to spend more time with me in a professional capacity as your coach, your teacher, your educator, your facilitator, you can reach me at GaiaMorissette.com. That's the gateway to all things Gaia. Now, if you're like, oh, I really wonder what's in the extended version. Well, find out on Patreon. Come join my Patreon for not only the extended version of this episode, but also bonus content, behind the scenes, all sorts of juicy, juicy stuff. I also lovingly invite you to follow me on Instagram, which the handle is My Orgasmic Life Podcast, where you can leave feedback and comments. Also come join me on Facebook at My Orgasmic Life Podcast Facebook group. And I really want to hear from you. I want to know how this show affected you. What did you learn? Was it inspirational? Did you agree? Do you disagree? I want to know, because I'm a little bit of a voyeur. So I want to know how am I affecting you? So please come leave some comments. Now, if you're like, but I don't want everybody to know what I'm thinking, which is okay. Sometimes we need privacy and we need to be anonymous. So you would like that option? We have that. You can email my slutty assistant, Layla, at GaiaMorissette.com. Okay, listeners, until next time, may your life be filled with sexy exploration and orgasmic pleasure. Mwah. Bye-bye.